Well, howdy, everybody. You always wonder what it's like being a ferry pilot. I've been home for about an hour from a 2-day trip up to Anchorage, Fairbanks, back to Anchorage, and then to Juneau, Sitka, Ketchikan, and Seattle. And now we are packing because we're getting ready to start our next ferry trip. We'll kind of keep a surprise where we're going right now, but I do have some Colorado and Montana airport directories. That looks like a good time. Dakota is probably not so happy because he hates it when I start packing, unless I pack the right clothes, because then he thinks he gets to go, but he will not get to go on this trip. Shh, he doesn't know that yet. So let's see what's going to happen.
Woo. Woo. Well, that was fun. That was an unexpected wet ride to the first phase of this trip, and it is wet. Got good wet weather riding gear, except for my shoes. I have them, but I didn't know it was going to rain like this today, so I get to start the day in wet flying shoes. We're going to get them off, get them dried out, put some dry socks on, hopefully on the airplane ride. Big time.
So this is what the radar picture looked like as I was riding in. Ride on American Airlines to get me down to Dallas. More room and probably a little more comfortable than what I'm going to have for the next few days. Here's the Texas Motor Speedway. My family and I have gone to many races there. A lot of good memories. Well, here the gal is. She's a 1939 J-3, just recently restored by Legend Cubs in 2019. Only 16 hours on her since. She's running a Don Swartz C85 stroker engine, doing about 105 horsepower, and brand new Dakota Cub wings. This prop is an absolute piece of art. Talk about beautiful. The other thing I really like about these wooden props is how smooth they are. They just absorb any vibration. One of the unique things in this hangar was it had lots of neat memorabilia. I mean, this old tire, signs from prior airlines and companies, and things you just don't see anymore. So here was my big picture plan. Launch out of here with a full tank of gas, head on up to Childress, Texas, and then over to Lamar, Colorado, and spend the night up in Colorado Springs with an Air Force buddy of mine. The next day up to Sheridan, and then hopefully the third day all the way home. Well, here we are. We've got her all fired up and we are taxiing out. We're going to fly about 20-25 minutes up to Decatur, Texas, and top off the fuel for this first leg, but she sure is purring nice as we get ready to go. The plan to be airborne by 2 was accomplished, but the airplane isn't full of fuel. There's no fuel on this airport, so I've already got an extra fuel stop that we're going to have to occur. Alright, as we turn out of the pattern pointed towards the northwest, it's time to settle in, get ready to ride this beautiful Cub for several days and many hours. And as many of you know, when I fly across the country, whether it's the continental United States or Canada, I have all the paper charts, still wax and sectionals to cover the whole thing. And that is still my preferred method of navigation. I know sometimes folding them and holding them and stuff is inconvenient, but I've never had a map fail me. Time for a little in-flight snack. Got me some Little Debbie bars, gotta love that, and then just doing what a J3 is best for. Just looking out the window, watching, smelling, and feeling the world go by. Life is good. Texas surprise. I heard a buffalo. Wouldn't be the last herd of buffalo I saw on this trip.
All right, well, we got the first very quick short leg done. Just a 30-minute flight up to Decatur, Texas to top off the fuel, because we are going to be bucking some headwinds. We're headed up to Childress, back up the old stomping grounds, and wow, 25986. She flew beautiful on this first leg. We got just a little bit of a wind, blowing 12 to 16, 18 in most places. And but she handled it just fine. Nice flying little airplane. That one's on. That one's on. So now we get going for sure. We're serious on the trip.
Here I'm just approaching Childress, Texas airport. We're going to overfly, take a look at it, verify the winds. This was about a 2.5 hour leg, a little shorter than the airplane was capable of, but I wanted to stop, confirm fuel burn and oil consumption, make sure everything's good before we start stretching the full range capability.
Well, here we are in Childress, Texas. Just quick stop for fuel. It's turned out to be a gorgeous day, kind of like we expected. We knew it was going to be clear skies. The winds have really been dying down. It was blowing about 8 to gusting to 12 was what was forecasted, or what was reported on the ASOS. Right down both runways here, nice. The seat guys and gals are already in town early. And got a nice 2-seat 802 behind me. The Cub's flying great. We were 2.4 hours here, burning, what did we burn? 12.5 gallons in the last 2.5 hours, or just short of 2.5 hours, so that's good. Now we're going to get on our way up towards Lamar, Kansas, intermediate fuel stop, and a short run into Colorado Springs. Let's go.
It was interesting as I worked my way across North Texas up into the Panhandle. I saw a wide variety of U.S. energy sources. Here's an old coal-powered electric fire plant. It's been shut down because of the windmills that you see just immediately to the north of them. Saw obviously several different windmill farms throughout Texas, just like you do everywhere in the U.S. And then just a few miles later, I came across this very large solar array, quite different than what I see out in Nevada. These were all just hooked into a local source. I was surprised to see this circle of alfalfa being cut up in the Panhandle of Texas, one of the few hay fields that was being irrigated, and the first one I saw going down. My original plan as I got into North Texas was going to Delhart, grab gas, and then try to make it up to Lamar, Colorado. I originally was really hoping to maybe make it as far as Colorado Springs. but the winds just didn't live up to their forecast, and I was just bucking way too much headwind. I knew I wasn't going to make it up to Lamar by darkness, or at least I wasn't going to get there with a lot of extra time to spare, so I decided to stop in Borger, Texas. It's about 33 miles just straight north of Amarillo. It had 24-hour fuel, looked like it had a big enough town with some hotels that I spotted as I flew around town. Checked out the Phillips oil refinery, the fertilizer plant, the huge traffic circle as I came in and set up for landing.
Another thing, never travel without your own tie-down ropes, because there's not a tie-down rope or a chain or anything on this airport. And it's West Texas where the wind blows, so, or the panhandle of Texas where the wind really blows. So I was surprised they didn't have anything, but that's why I always bring my own. Well, here we are, just landed in Hutchinson County, Texas. It's about 30 miles north of Amarillo. The winds have died down. It's an oil gas town. You got the Phillips refinery. Getting ready to tie the airplane down for the night. Was walking around checking to see what's here. And I'm standing here, possibly taking a leak behind the hangar. And I'm looking inside here and it's like, God, that just looks like a flogger ramp. And a flogger is a MiG-23, an old Soviet multi-role fighter. And so I come and take a look closer in the window, and sure as hell we have a swing wing MiG-23 flogger in here. So we are definitely going to have to do some more asking around, looking through some windows to see what this is. It's an old Polish. That is cool. Well, that Historical Aviation Society sign on the hangar started to give us a little bit of a clue. Hangar doors open. Look at here. Besides a pile of broken up concrete, I recognize these as burner cans. Here's horizontal stabs. Here's the swing wings, a pivot. Afterburner section with the nose section out the front of number 1 and number 2. Some age equipment. Here's a vertical tail. This is the old ECM pod. Wow, this is cool. All right, there's where all the crushed concrete came from. They're redoing the floor runners. It's a bottle cap. Of course, it's not a complete trip until you drop something. Of course, once you drop it, it rolls itself right to the closest hole. And there's a bottle cap right here. Good news is I can feel it, which eventually I'll get it into place here and be able to pick it out of there. There it is. Fun's just getting my fingers in there to grab it. All right, success. One less thing on the squawk list.
Well, this drip is what I found when I shut down and got out on landing.
Well, this is not good. We shut down here and started to notice a significant oil leak. Got some on the back of the exhaust pipe here. And so now we are pulled the top cowl and starting to search to see where this is coming from. Seems to be over on that right hand side, possibly where the sump is what it looks like. Well, we've obviously fired it back up, looking to see if one of three possible places that leak might be coming from. Possibly where the oil sump bolts up, possibly the magneto or crush washer on the filter screen. I'm not seeing anything leaking right now, no new drips while it's been running. So we're gonna watch it some more, take a look at it, and check it in the morning. So I'm not sure what we had. Yeah, so I don't know. I am not seeing any active leaks, especially the size that I would expect to see based on what we were seeing. I didn't see any active drips while I sat there and ran at that time. There's nothing dripping now. That's a weird one. Nothing on the muffler dripping from there. Like I say, possibly here, or possibly from the sump flange.
So I ran the engine with the cowls off, couldn't find any more active leak. The airplane didn't leak when we shut down either. So I called up a couple IA buddies, we talked things over and came up with a game plan. I was going to come back out in the morning, I was going to fire it up, go fly a local hop, come back in and see if it was leaking then. The airplane's not burning oil or showing to be leaking any significant amounts as far as what I see on the dipstick. So it has me a little bit baffled. So we had a game plan for the night. We called up the owner. We filled him in on the details. He agreed with the game plan. So it was time just to put her to bed, enjoy this beautiful sunset view, go into town, grab the hotel, get some dinner, get ready for tomorrow.
Good night, sweetheart. We'll see you in the morning. You did good today. All right. Well, talk about some great service. The airport custodian here at Hutchinson County in Borger, Texas, he had already left but saw me pull in, and he turned around, came back, gave me the keys to the courtesy car, told me about the airport, told me about the project with the MiGs. Made sure everything was taken care of, told me where to eat a good steak tonight, what hotel to sleep in, more importantly, what hotel not to sleep in. And when I jump in the car, what do we have in the courtesy van? But a little bit of Prince playing. goes. A good day of flying. Always an adventure. The winds were a little stronger. I don't know if they were a little stronger than I thought, giving me a little more headwind component, or the airplane just didn't quite have the speed that I thought we might get out of it, being a stoked C-85. But we came within 2.5 hours of getting where we needed to go with a couple extra stops that took some time. So we're just going to enjoy a new adventure in a new town. Texas size roundabout, baby. Woo!
Thanks for coming along, everybody. Be sure to tune in for part 2. See what happens with this oil leak as we make our way north towards Wyoming.